Hi, this is Stephen Desjardins. I am running Forget Me Not for the Gauntlet Community Open Gaming event. This is a Twin Peaks style game, which is very free form. I've already been over the safety tools with my players, and I am about to show them the selection of characters. If you go to the player names tab, you'll see a list of 5 characters below each of your names. I want you to pick 2 of those characters that interest you. We're each going to pick 2, and that will form a shared pool of 6 characters, which will be who we're playing with in this game.
How do you want us to indicate the ones we're interested in?
Just tell me.
Oh, okay.
And if you really want to take one of the ones on my sheet or the other player's sheet, that's fine. This is basically just a semi-random way of.
Sure. I would like to take Dahlia Ramirez, diner waitress. And there's no way I am resisting retiree in scare quotes like that, because I want to play to find out what those scare quotes are about. So Graham Coop is the other one that I will play.
Okay. I think I will be playing, where'd it go? Patrick, the public DJ, the radio DJ, and then Donovan Wood, the millionaire.
Okay. And now I am going to show you a set of events in the game. I want you to each pick one of those.
I'm going to have BYOBBQ. We're having a potluck of salads: pasta, potato, tuna, Caesar, Waldorf. Opening any room for beer and meat on the buffet. I'm just joshing.
Yeah, and I forgot to mention that I selected Roberta Euker and Sheriff Gray, which are the 2 characters that the game recommends that you include in any game with new players, which I stacked the deck to make sure I would get dealt those 2. Seemed fair.
Okay, I think that I wanna include tourist season. The worst of it isn't the fancy cars and the people looking for flavored coffee. It's not them asking for directions or the loud noises until 9 p.m. No, it's the smell. It's the goddamn smell.
Okay, and the main card I'm selecting is Jessica Ashwick, which is always the final event card. And I am going to show you the layout. So if you go to the card layout tab, you'll see that Patrick, the public radio DJ, is the dealer to Dahlia Ramirez, the diner waitress, and has a family relationship with Donovan Wood, the millionaire. Dahlia Ramirez buys weed for Sheriff Gray, the small town sheriff, and discounts to Roberta Euker, the newspaper owner. Sheriff Gray stalks Graham Coop, the retiree. Donovan Wood, the millionaire, votes for Roberta Euker, the newspaper owner. And Roberta Euker is doing an expose on Graham Coop, the retiree. And the events in this game are tourist season. The worst of it isn't the fancy cars and the people looking for flavored coffee. It's not them asking for loud directions or the loud noises until 9 p.m. No, it's the smell, the goddamn smell. BYO we're having a potluck of salads, pasta, potato, tuna, Caesar, Waldorf. Won't be any room for beer or meat on the menu. Ha, I'm just Joshin. And Jessica Ashwick. She was the kind of girl no one talked to and few people cared about. She kept to herself, and keeping to herself made everyone else happy. And before we start, there is a newspaper article which gets read at the beginning of the game. It's Falls Gazette. Young woman found dead, no witnesses, by Roberta Euker. Northern Falls, Washington. On June 1st, 1986, Jessica Ashwick was found dead. While the police have not been forthcoming with information, it can be reported that Jessica's family is inconsolable and unreachable at this time. Sheriff Gray assures the people of Northern Falls that this is an isolated incident and that the murderer will be brought to justice. No word from the mayor's office yet, but rumor has it that Gary Rowe intends to issue a press release soon. Meanwhile, the residents of Northern Falls have reacted indifferently to the death, despite Jessica's close ties to the community. And now we begin by framing scenes involving two or more of the characters and one of the events. Ordinarily, the person framing the scene doesn't take part in the scene, but since there are only three players in this game, I think it's acceptable to play for the person framing the scene to play one part themselves, because three-person conversations are a bit less limiting than scenes with just two players in them. So does anybody want to volunteer to start a scene, or should I begin?
Can I ask a question about our sheets first?
Oh, yes, please go ahead.
So we have, each of us has what, 5? We've got a list there with some check marks next to it. And I'm not clear on whether those are scene prompts or something we're trying to be hitting in the scene, or resources, or how that works.
Okay. Yes, I should have mentioned that. When we play a scene, you must mention the top one of those lines. That must occur somewhere in the scene. So if you're playing Patrick, the public radio DJ in the scene, at some point you have to use the phrase "broken watch." If you're playing Dali Ramirez, at some point in the scene you would have to play "Try the Strudel." And also in every scene, the murder of Jessica Ashwick must be mentioned. It doesn't need to be a central part of the scene, but it should be mentioned in every scene. And as I said before, this is a shared pool of characters. They aren't assigned. They aren't attached to any particular person. Whoever is framing the scene can assign any character to any other player, and different players may end up playing the same character at different points in the game.
So Lara, I don't know how bold you're feeling, but I would be, Steven, since you've played this before, I would love it if you could do the first scene for us, unless Lara, you wanted to just dive right in.
Yeah, I'm down for anything.
That's fine. So I'll take.
Yeah, this will just to get a sense of kind of what we're looking at.
Right. All right. Well, say this relationship where Dahlia buys weed for Sheriff Gray and Patrick is her dealer. So maybe a scene between Dahlia and Patrick where she wants to she needs to get some weed, and perhaps she's approaching him at the BYO BBQ. And I'll say that Donovan Wood, who is somehow family to Patrick, may be there, may not. I'll step in if it looks like my presence will make things more interesting. And so I'll say that Jim is playing Patrick and Laura is playing Dahlia.
So yeah, I think that I'm like I envision myself as Patrick, like as one of those people who like looking at him, he's got that very kind of skinny, so he's got like a hipster beard, long hair kind of thing going on. I picture him as one of those people that like can just pack away tremendous amounts of food and is still like rail thin, right? Like all of us know like one of those people, right? And like I think he's that guy that he just like has, is like going up for his fourth plate or something like this. And
I think Dahlia is probably I see her as like one of those kind of soccer mom vibes, but then has this weed business on the side. So she's probably helping serve at this barbecue. And we'll probably try to find a moment during her and Patrick's conversation to ask about her need.
So yeah, so I think that like if you're serving, I'd like walk up, hey Dahlia, I know that they don't put names on anything so that like nobody can play favorites, but that was that German potato salad, that was all you. I know it was.
Well, I like you said, we can't put names to foods, but I give a wink. But your palate is very well refined, Patrick, dear. You should try the strudel next. It is quite tasty.
You got, there's like, should I have the apple or the blueberry? You know what? I'm gonna have one of each because I can. I'm having a good day today. This is really good. This is and like it grabs a plate and like puts one of each on there.
I continue to serve more slices onto your plate. Oh, why has this been such a good day, Patrick? Have you gotten new clientele?
No. Well, okay. I mean, like, it's kind of ghoulish, I guess. And I like lean in kind of conspiratorially and I go, like, but this Jessica Ashworth thing, the fact that it happened in town and that I've been able to talk to witnesses, like I talked to I talked to her dad who found the body and stuff like this and everything. Like ratings at the station have never been better. And, I don't know. you know, it's kind of a weird thing, right? To be, I'm going to feel like a ghoul, but it's working out.
Bless her heart, that poor girl had more troubles than she could vocalize. She had a rough life.
Yeah, I know. And I just kind of like stand there for a moment, and there's that like awkward like 10 or 15 seconds of silence while I'm just kind of standing there. And I say, but you know, I haven't heard from you in a little while, so I was just wondering, you know, if there was anything you needed from me.
I kind of I tip my my glasses over and look over at him and say, "Don't play games with me, Patrick. Where's the goods?"
Like I kind of like do one of these. Oh, well, yes. All right, cool. Meet me at my Prius outside, and I brought the usual, I say.
I kind of look around, glancing to each side. Very good. Go eat your strudel.
And I say, okay, so I don't know, what, like, when do you get done here? Like 15 minutes?
Yeah, give or take.
And I do one of these, like, you know, shoot my sleeve, and I've got a like an old, it's like an antique watch that clearly is, you know, on like a gold band. And I kind of look at it, I go, oh, damn this thing, you know, kind of wrap the face of it and go, I don't know why I don't just get a new one, but you know, and then like I'm actually winding it. It's like a watch you have to wind, and muttering to myself as I walk away, winding my watch.
I think that as you're walking away, Dahlia kind of quirks her head and just goes, "It's a very nice watch for a boy like that."
And like, is that a scene, Stephen?
Yeah,
Cool.
I think that's a scene. So now, what I do as the person who framed the scene is I check off three of the boxes. One of them for BYOBBQ. That's automatic. You always mark the event card. And since there are only two characters in the scene, I mark both of their phrases, and also I highlight one of the phrases, the one that I think moved the story forward more. I'll say that was Dahlia Ramirez's. Try the strudel. So I'll highlight that as well, which doesn't have any mechanical effect yet. It'll have an effect at the end of the game. But the mechanical effect that checking the boxes has is that now when Patrick or Dahlia appears in this scene, they will use the next phrase on their card, the first one that is not checked off. And there's one other rule which I didn't mention, which is that you can't choose the Jessica Ashwick event card unless both of the other cards have at least one token on them. You can never put more tokens on the Jessica Ashwick card than are present on the other cards. So the next person to frame a scene would have to choose either BYOBBQ again or Tourist Season. And then when Tourist Season had at least one token on it, you could pick the Jessica Ashwick card.
So I did a thing that I guess I probably should have asked about before I did it, which was I just like, you know, like bullshitted up a detail about the fact that it was her father that found her body. Can we do stuff like that, or should we hold off on?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because
Excellent.
there is no way we are ever going to find out anything about this story unless people introduce it. This is completely free form.
Got it. Is there a place where we can jot those kind of details down, or should we just try to remember them, or what?
I think at this point we'll just remember them or make notes on your own computer. That is a good point, and I should put something on the character keeper where people can make notes.
Yeah, I'm kind of taking notes just by hand right now.
Cool. Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
great. Excellent.
So is there someone who wants to frame the second scene?
I can give it a shot.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see here. I think that we should get something going with Roberta Euker and maybe Graham Coop, the retiree. And then we can have the small town sheriff probably has to be there because the retiree is there. So I think that should be good. And I think that we'll make this at the barbecue again. Just maybe like a frame shift from one conversation to the next. Maybe we pick up on something interesting there. But yeah, I think Roberta's probably talking with Graham Coop, writing an expose perhaps on like what he's doing with all of his free time. So I assign characters to people, or do they
Yes.
choose?
Yes,
Okay.
you choose who plays which character.
Okay. Well, Jim, you seemed really excited about Graham Coop, so I'll let you take the reins on him. Stephen, does Roberta sound good for you?
That's fine.
All right, and I can take on the role of Sheriff Gray.
Okay. So where exactly is Graham Coop at this barbecue, Jim?
I think Graham. I think the joke about there's that joke about the salads, but Graham makes chili, and Graham has a proprietary kind of famous around town chili recipe, and he makes a batch of it, and everyone knows he brings exactly 2 gallons of that chili, no more, no less. And if you're not in line right up front, to try it, and he has like Dixie cups, and he like doles it out carefully, 1 scoop in a Dixie cup, and that's what you get. And he's not interested in any arguments about people who want more. If you want another helping, you go back to the back of the line. Because this is like the point of this is everybody gets a taste. And so I think maybe by this point, perhaps like the chili has been doled out.
Yeah, I think I think just when he finishes the last of the chili and he's closing up, Roberta Eucher walks up to him and says, "Mr. Coop, you're a difficult man to track down."
And I raise an eyebrow and I smirk at her and I say, it can't be that difficult if you managed it.
Well, everybody knows that you're going to be here today. You always show up with exactly 2 gallons of chili, and
no more, no less.
No more, no less. But your other hunts, you've been avoiding them, Mr. Coop. You've been avoiding me.
You are leading me to believe that I am more interesting than I know myself to be.
I think we all know Mr. Coop, that you are more interesting than what you present yourself as, or that, shall we say, your private affairs are more interesting than you would have known. I mean, unless you expect us to really believe that you are a simple retiree.
Oh, I'm not simple. I'm a complicated man. I think we all are, as humans walking the earth here. These are complicated times that we find ourselves living in. But here is the sheriff, and he can confirm to you that, in fact, there's nothing interesting at all about me. Sheriff Gray, how are you?
Very good, Mr. Coop. I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to come down to the station tomorrow morning. I have a couple questions to ask you about the murder of the young girl in town. I assume you've heard about it.
Of course I've heard about it. We have all heard about it. Tough not to have seen Jessica around town, given her alleged, I say, like pointedly in the direction of Roberta, predilections. But we have an esteemed member of the Fourth Estate here with us, Sheriff, so why don't you go ahead and ask your questions now? Sunlight, disinfectant, all of that sort of thing, isn't that true?
Oh, there's not enough disinfectant in the world to cleanse you, Mr. Coop.
You see? Do you see the nature of this is how my charity work here is received by the media.
What were you very well? What were you doing the night that Jessica was killed?
Oh, well, the night that Jessica was killed, I was in a tent. It was very comfortable. I have a nice pad that I lay down for my sleeping bag. It is a large enough tent that my dogs can be in there with me. And we were on the other side of the lake, in the state reservation, and I was duck hunting, but so that I could get an early start right in the morning. I had driven in evening before and stayed overnight.
And I assume nobody can confirm your whereabouts.
Well, the ranger at the gate, who I paid the $20 to receive an overnight parking permit for, he certainly can.
Interesting.
I might even wait, and I kind of make a show of like patting myself down. Oh, look, and I pull out my wallet and I open it up. Oh, for some reason, I like it's a revelation. Whip! I hold up, an admission ticket. Like whatever the the thing you stick on your windshield, right, to indicate that you've paid the parking fee to park overnight in the park. In fact, here it is. You'll note the time and date stamp there. Would you like? Shall I hold it up so that you can take a picture of it with your phone, Ms. Euker?
I guess I kind of look very closely at this, and I pull out a plastic bag and I'm like, would you mind?
No, now I'm warning you, my fingerprints are going to be all over that.
I assumed so.
And I kind of make a gesture towards Roberta.
I see you were very careful to keep the evidence of your alibi, Mr. Coop. I am not surprised. Of course, that is completely worthless. There are at least a dozen trails out of the hunting area. everyone in town knows how easy it is to get into the hunting area without paying the fee, and they know how easy it would be to get out of it.
I can assure you that a hike of that distance would create all sorts of issues for my sciatica.
Oh, well, I wouldn't want to call you a liar, Mr. Coop.
Oh, luckily for us, there's an easy way for you to do that, which is to not. Sheriff, I regret that you arrived too late to sample any of the chili.
Me as well. Perhaps at the next one.
Yes, well, you know where to reach me. I won't be leaving town, so please stop by anytime.
Yes.
You, Miss Euchre.
Farewell, Mr. Coop. We'll be talking again. And I turned to the sheriff. Whoever his heirs are, they're going to inherit a lot more than a chili recipe.
I look to her. I have come to the same conclusion.
Sheriff, Miss Euchre, you really should try the strudel. It's pretty good this year.
I think I kind of turn towards Mr. Coop. I kind of nod my hat. If you say so, sir. If you'll please excuse me, I'm going to have to be taking my leave soon. I need to tune into the AM 620.
And Laura, you're the one who calls the end of the scene.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I guess I just kind of tilt my hat, walk away, and I think that would be the scene there.
Right. Okay. So now, check off a box on BYOBBQ.
Okay.
And you have to pick 2 of the characters to check boxes on.
Okay.
Okay, and which one of those phrases did more to move the story forward, in your opinion?
Should it be to move the story forward as a whole, or just the scene forward?
The scene, the story, yeah, whichever,
Okay.
however you to interpret that.
Because I'm a little torn, because that inheritance bit that Roberta dropped, I think, gives us some motive. Or something to explore there, but then the 2 gallons was a good setup there. I think I'm going to go with the inheritance, though. How do I highlight? Is it I just highlight the box?
Yeah, you just select the box and go to the fill.
The fill in.
Yeah, I mean, I just did it.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Cool beans.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so that's me. So I think it's time we talked about tourist season here in town. And so it is, the worst of it isn't the fancy cars and the people looking for flavored coffee. It's not them asking for directions or the loud noise until 9 p.m. No, it's the smell. It's the goddamn smell. All right. And so I would like to have, I'd like to meet Donovan Wood, the millionaire. And I would like to have, I'd like Donovan Wood and Sheriff Gray. Do I want to have a third party? Yeah, so I think Roberta. So have Sheriff Gray, Roberta, and Donovan. So this is our whatever, our town luminaries here. And I think that this, what I would like is for the three of them, so it's tourist season, and I think that there is a, oh, you know what? We've established there's like a big lake here. So they have like a big, like a fishing tournament, right? And it's like tons of kids, and they, you know, have fish fries and whatever. And there's, you know, food trucks come in and all that sort of thing. And so this is like one of the big events is whatever the like the, you know, the shad derby or something like that, right? They stock the lake and all this stuff, and, you know, and whatever, and they set up, and there's probably piers that they set up that, you know, people go fish off of and stuff like that. And so this is like a big weekend long event, and there's, you know, age groups and different kinds of fish, and, you know, biggest this and whatever, and, you know, big photo op for the local news, all that sort of stuff. And so I think that, you know, Donna and Roberta are responsible, you know, basically are the backers for it, right? They basically put up the money so that this can happen, and certainly, you know, they get it back. But they make sure all the wheels are greased and permits are set up and whatever, all this kind of stuff and everything. You know, and like Donovan buys, you know, basically like, you know, he basically pays to have like a supplement printed, one of those like, you know, like blow in, like free whatever, like a magazine, like, you know, whatever, like that's like, you know, whatever like memorial for the tournament or something like that. And in return, because he drops a pile of money on that, Roberta gives very, you know, it's basically, you know, he buys a big ad, and in turn, he gets a lot of coverage and puff pieces and stuff on this tournament. And then, of course, the sheriff is just responsible for making sure that everything is, you know, everything runs smoothly, right? And, you know, and keeps going and stuff like that. And so I think that this is going to be, the three characters are probably like, whatever the like fanciest like lakeside restaurant is with the outdoor tables, and like it's one of these like restaurants that actually has a dock, and you can drive your boat up to the dock and get out and go to the restaurant from your boat and stuff like this. And so the three of us are all sitting around a table, kind of right at the, like, you know, like a really nice table at the edge of the water that is basically like, essentially it's Donovan's table, right? And so we can kind of look out, and we can see the water, we can see the boats, we can see the kids fishing, you know, down the shore a little bit and stuff. And so it's all kind of bustling all around us while this is all happening. So, so Laura, why don't you play Donovan Wood, our millionaire?
Sounds good.
And Stephen, you played Roberta before. Let me ask you, would you prefer to play her again, or do you want to take a run at the sheriff? What's your preference?
Entirely up to you.
Why don't you go ahead and play Roberta again, and I'll play the sheriff. And what I would like is for this to be a thing where the two of you converse for a little while, and then I'll enter the scene at whatever the least opportune moment, you know, to interrupt or eavesdrop or whatever it is you guys are talking about, if that makes sense and if that works for you.
Okay. So are we all at the table right now?
I think the two of you are at that table, and I'm, like I said, as the sheriff, I'm going to come walking up, and, you know, at some point when it's, you know, inconvenient or awkward or dramatic in your conversation. And I won't wait too long. I won't leave you hanging, but I do want to like get the two of you started talking and then interject that third party to see how that tilts stuff up.
All right, sounds good.
Right. And because Sheriff Gray didn't have a box checked last time, he again has to use the phrase AM 620 at some point in the conversation. But Roberta had the inheritance box checked, so now her phrase is jilted love, and Donovan's phrase is once ran for senator. And there's a relationship where Donovan Wood votes for Roberta Euker, which implies that Roberta Euker is running for something.
So we could maybe be discussing the campaign. I imagine as a millionaire, I'm probably backing you. So maybe Donovan starts off with, Roberta, I have already made the checkout to you in your campaign. I am expecting I'm expecting my part of the deal. When should I expect a return on my investment?
Oh, you'll get your big spread in the paper, Donovan. Everybody in town will know that you paid for this event, and half the tourists in town will hear your name as well. I've arranged for a big thank you from the mayor at the climax of the ceremonies, and I mean, I know it'll stick in Gary's throat that having to thank the person who's funding his opponent in the next election.
I shake my head. Oh, Roberta, you must have known that I expected more than just fame and my name getting spread among the measly tourists here. That counts for minimal. They all smell of fish when they come here. There is nothing that I want from them. What can you offer me?
Well, if you're not talking about the support of my paper, then obviously there's not much I can offer you until you become mayor, except of course for the story on Graham Coop.
And that is exactly when I come walking up, like whatever, like a waitress passes, in front, and then I'm walking up behind her, and I hear you talking about Coop, and I get a little bit of a exasperated look on my face, and I say, "Good afternoon, Mr. Wood. Ms. Euchre, do you have a moment? May I join you?"
Of course. Take a seat, dear friend.
I, take my hat and I kind of toss it over the oh no, I wouldn't toss it over the table, but I kind of hook it on the on the whatever, like the top of the chair, and I sit down, and I just kind of hold a finger up to the waitress, and I say, just let me have a root beer, honey, and turn back to you, and I say, Mr. Wood, I was listening to AM 620 while I was out this morning, and I don't know what kind of influence you have over your nephew, but he's going way out over his skis on these crazy theories that he has about the Jessica Ashwick incident.
My nephew? I do not know who you mean. I have no familial relations in this town.
Oh, please, Donovan. Everyone knows Patrick was Sally's. Everyone knows who Patrick's father was. Your brother, he was a horn dog.
Donovan's face blanches a little bit. We disowned him.
Look, I don't know. like I said, so I don't know whether you have any influence or not, whether you can say something to him, but he's going to get some people riled up. That's all I'm saying. He has some. Anytime something like this happens, people get ideas, they get notions, and like I said, I just think he's, it's a very big apple cart that he can upset here if he doesn't, stay in his lane.
What exactly is the boy saying?
He's implying that I don't quite know how to put this. That I might be involved in her death somehow. You know what? I just did that. That's what I just have to say. And it's going to make my job much harder so this is the kind of thing where I'm in a very difficult situation, and I'm sure you understand that. I'm conducting this investigation to the best of my ability. We've got some good evidence, and I'm going to get to the bottom of it. But I have to deal with this nonsense. That's going to make my job harder, and it's going to give whoever did this time and space to cover it up or get away.
Donovan leans back in his chair. Sheriff, you seem awfully anxious about what some 20-year-old pothead is going around telling people. There wouldn't be any truth to those allegations, now would there?
Donovan, don't torment the boy. Our paper has always had good relationship with law enforcement, and we are not, Sheriff, I can assure you that our paper is not going to print anything that will cause you inconvenience. I mean, I am convinced that this Jessica Ashwick thing, it's not some case of jilted love and the rumors of an affair between the two of you. Well, I don't know whether they're true or not, but as far as our paper is concerned, it's completely irrelevant.
No, you're right. This is none of our business, mere allegations. However, a jilted love affair would explain why that one time you once ran for mayor, why you didn't win, wouldn't it now?
You know what? I'm going to leave you to this. This is above my pay grade. But like I said, Mr. Wood, if there's anything you can do to, maybe just tug the leash on Patrick a little bit, I'd very much appreciate it. It would make my job much, much easier.
And a word of advice, Sheriff. If you press Graham Coop on what his relationship to Jessica Ashwick really was, I think you might uncover some very interesting information. And it might get the pressure off you.
Roberta? And this is, and like, I actually kind of lean in on this and get a, like sort of in like close talking range, right? And I say, how about this? I won't tell you how to do your job. You don't tell me how to do mine. You're good at what you do, so just do me a favor and do that. Don't worry. There's not anywhere Graham Coop can go where I'm not keeping an eye on him. But
I ask, Sheriff. It's all I ask.
But he's not stupid. And if he's going to screw up, I got to put the pressure on him slowly. He's got to be the frog in the pot. If I turn the heat up too quick, he'll jump. Do you follow?
I follow, Sheriff, but goes both ways. If you don't keep me in the loop, my paper's going to do what it does, and without any regard for your investigation. So if you want me to lay off Graham Coop, you're going to have to give me something.
Well, as soon as I know something, you will be the second person to know it.
That's fine. And in the meantime, we're going to keep hammering him hard because it sells papers.
I guess I can't argue with that. And what's good for the paper is good for the town. And like there's a note, there's like a little hint of like a little bit of bitterness in my voice when I say that. Like the waitress is bringing my root beer up, and I take it and I kind of like slug down, just go down about half of it, set the glass down on the table, and say, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go roust some underage drinkers. And go ahead.
Sorry. I guess as you turn away, I think Donovan says, and Sheriff, I hope I can count on your support in the upcoming election.
And like I give you like one of these behind my back, right? Like a thumbs up over my shoulder as I'm walking away. And that's definitely a scene, I feel like. So, all right. So I'm gonna check tourist season because we had a tourist season scene. I'm gonna check AM 620 so that Chef Greg can move on to the next thing.
And that is a perfectly valid reason to check a box, just because you're sick of seeing a particular phrase.
And I think that the Jilted Love is pretty. Check that as well.
That one was good.
And I'm actually going to mark AM 620 here because that's like people getting upset about what other people are saying. And, we've got a mix of, volatility and free press and all that kind of stuff that is a little side story that I'm interested in. So I'm checking that. And that's how that goes, right?
Yep.
Cool.
All right. Let's take a little bit of a break now. Come back at 15 minutes past the hour.
Perfect.
All right.
All right. We're back, and I think I will frame a Jessica Ashwick scene. I think let's put Graham Coop and Patrick together. I think Graham has gone looking for Patrick to find out what he knows about Jessica Ashwick. I'm going to be interested just to see what you come up with. So I'll have Jim play Graham Coop, and Laura can play Patrick. And I think I will not appear in this scene. Just make it a two-player scene. And the rule in the Jessica Ashwick scene is that you have to talk about Jessica Ashwick's murder directly. In addition to using the phrases on your cards.
All right.
So
I feel like these two characters would maybe meet in like the woods. I don't know. These two seem pretty sketchy.
So you know what? I feel like this is not a planned meeting.
Okay.
But this is Graham dropping in on like wherever Patrick's grow operation is.
Okay.
That is supposedly well hidden. No one can find it. It's off the grid, whatever, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But like somehow Graham manages to, find it.
All right. Cool.
So like, where would you be? Like, how extensive is it? Is it just like is it a couple of plants somewhere? Is it like a whole greenhouse? What is it?
Let's see.
How does this work?
I don't know. I think that it might be just like, I think that it's a pretty extensive operation, but I don't see Patrick being the type to be able to like run a very organized operation. So you'll see a couple plants maybe growing out of the rooftop, maybe a couple like in his garden. Maybe he'll have like a kind of disorganized field of plants. And I think that he's probably just lying in the middle of the field right now, just kind of taking it all in. I think that he's probably baked right now.
All right. And like you hear, you are like, you don't hear anyone come up or anything like that, but you're just laying there. I don't know if you got your headphones on or whatever, or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I think the thing where you've got your headphones on and you're like, eyes are closed and you're just,
She's vibing.
yeah. And whatever music it is you're listening to, and like the sun is shining down on your face and it's really nice.
Yeah.
And then like the sun is not shining on you. Like something has blocked your sunlight.
I think without opening my eyes, it's not cool, man. Not cool.
And and I think that like I just reached down and just like pluck the cord out of I think we established this is what, like late 80s, early 90s, something like that, Stephen? Is that what's going on?
It's 1986.
1986. So I like disconnect your Walkman, right?
Mm-hmm.
I pull the headphone jack out of it and the music stops. Of course, the tape is still running. You just can't hear it anymore.
Right. I think I kind of like open like maybe one eye, and then I kind of see who it is and sit up and say, "What's your damage?"
And I'm doing that thing where I'm like squatting down, like my elbows are on my knees, and I'm kind of in a like a squat there, and I say, so do we know of course we know each other. Like we were at the thing there and stuff like that. Stephen, is that the presumption, is that we're at least familiar with who each other is in town?
Yeah, it's a small town. Everybody
Yeah, okay.
knows who
All right.
everyone else is.
All right. Patrick, I have been listening to your radio program, and I just wanted to let you know that I'm a big fan. I'm really interested in these theories that you have about the sheriff being involved in the death of Jessica Ashwick, because, well, between you and me, and I have to tell you, I don't have a lot of people to confide in these days. I've got 3 dogs, no wife. And so forgive me if this seems a bit forward of me, walking onto the site of your illegal marijuana operation, which, if revealed...
We prefer the term refined establishment.
Yes, I'm sure that you do, but nevertheless, I am here to assist you in your investigative journalism, because the sheriff seems to think that he can pin this on me. And I am a lot of things, but I am not a cold-blooded killer.
I think Patrick gets nose to nose with him and says,
yeah,
everybody is a cold-blooded killer in their own right, man. And then I think he backs away and just kind of starts dancing.
Okay. So I sigh and I stand up and I say, look, we have an interest here in common. I have no interest. Well, we have one common interest and we have one common lack of interest. I am not interested in the sheriff figuring out a way to blame me for the murder of that poor girl.
Of course you aren't.
And you are interested in finding the truth, right? In getting and getting an exclusive in the bargain.
I think I perk up to that. Yeah, man. Nobody listens to me. I am just after the truth, man. Everything is so convoluted in this world. It's man versus the machine. Everything is getting hacked, and the everything is just exploding in on itself, man. I just want to know what's true in this world. And then he returns to dancing.
And I sigh and kind of like rub the bridge of my nose. Do you have any sort of documents, any photographs, recordings of witnesses that you've spoken to that I could listen to?
Recordings? No, I don't trust that kind of thing. But witnesses, if that's what you're after. Well, I was one of the last people to see Jessica alive that night. I saw her going off with Donovan Wood. As a matter of fact, they went away into the woods. And I tried to follow them, but I lost pursuit. I got distracted. You know how it is.
I'm sure that I don't, but I can guess how it is for you.
Yeah, man.
That's really interesting. Well, Patrick, like I said, big fan. Keep doing what you're doing. You know what? I'm just gonna, and I like reach into, and I've got, and I'm wearing, I think actually like Carhartts or something like that, like work pants and like hiking boots. And I've got it's the summer, so I've probably got like a one of those like 3-button polo shirts on, right?
Right.
Short sleeve, but like my arms are like jacked, right? And like just under the, like where under the polo shirt there, you can make out the bottom half of like a Marine Corps tattoo on my right arm, right?
All right.
And I've got the, like the buzz cut haircut and everything. Actually, like, just looks like I do, balding on the top, cut close on the sides, a little bit of beard and stuff like that and everything. But, so I, and I just kind of reach into my back pocket, and since it's 1986, I pull out one of those, like disposable drugstore cameras, right? The kind that you take pictures and then you leave it at the pharmacy and they develop the pictures for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I just snap a few shots of the marijuana plants.
I think that Patrick's gonna trot on up to you and maybe try to take the camera out of your hand there. Just snatch it away.
Yeah. So how do we resolve something like this, Stephen? Is there a mechanical resolution system, or we just kind of freeform it based on what we have established?
I think the director of the scene gets to decide if there's a conflict, and I would say that Patrick would not be able to get that away from you. It would in fact be pretty ineffectual.
Okay.
So this is like a thing where like Patrick like goes to reach for it, and like Graham just like very easily takes that arm, like sweeps his legs out and just dumps him on the ground. Like doesn't hurt him. It's like one of these like incapacitated, it's like a judo move, right?
Yeah.
but just like lays him out flat.
Okay. I think Patrick starts laughing, and then he pulls out a bag from his pocket of weed, and he kind of has it in between his forefinger and his middle finger, and he's like, "For all your troubles."
And I I point at him and I say, "That shit is poison, and it will rot your brain."
The only poison in this world is man. The evil in this world.
But it's a free country.
This is the cure. This is the cure, man.
And I respect your entrepreneurship if I do not respect the form that it takes. I will be in touch. And I turn and go walking back into the woods from whence I came, to like walk up on the back of your property.
All right, I think he says cheers and then puts his headphones back in and starts up his Walkman.
Okay, and I believe that's the scene. So mark Jessica, Ashwick, Graham, Coop, and Patrick. And I think I will highlight Graham's 3 dogs, no wives. So Laura, do you want to frame the next scene?
Yeah, sure. Let's take a look here. Who haven't we really used yet? All right, I think we're gonna bring Dahlia Ramirez back in. And then I think that we're gonna have Donovan Wood in here again. Let's get Roberta in here too. I'm liking the woman power in this scene. Let's see. Jim, do you want to play Donovan for this?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Steven, do you want to play Dahlia?
All right.
And I've got Roberta. Okay. So.
And which was the event card?
Yeah, I think let's make this tourist season, and I think that we're going to be in Dahlia Ramirez's diner, where it is famous for its many flavored coffees. You can get a variety of flavors here, and that is what this town is known for.
Yeah, I mean, and it's 1986, so this is really exotic stuff.
Yep. So
like vanilla and coffee.
Mind blown.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. So we'll be in Dahlia's diner. I think that this is a place that Donovan frequents. I think this is a place where all of the locals go to get their morning cup of joe. And I think we'll start with Donovan and Dahlia first. And I think that Roberta will meander in at some point.
Hey, Donovan. Can I interest you in our new maple syrup coffee?
That sounds disgusting.
Yeah.
I know these rubes like that stuff. I would like just regular black coffee. No amaretto. No maple cream. No banana. No jalapenos. I don't know what you are putting in it. Just plain black coffee, please.
Yeah, nobody's ever going to mistake you for a tourist, Donovan. That's probably a good thing.
Dahlia, I can see, I know you have pride of place here. I know that this all means a lot to you, but please, the offer that I've made is more than you and any of your descendants will make on this place in the next 100 years.
you know, Donovan, you may be happy sitting on your ass in your home, living off your money, but I've been working my whole life, and I don't know how to stop working.
No one's saying you have to stop working. The Main Street has a couple of lovely storefronts.
Wait, you want me to sell antiques?
No, open a coffee. Do this, but there. Like, it's the coffee that people are interested in. You don't need all of this. I'm sure.
This is a community center, Donovan. People come here. They talk. They put up their postcards. Somebody goes to Hawaii. They bring back a postcard. I put it up on the wall of postcards. It's this. This is what makes Northern Falls Northern Falls. It's a place that people can come together. You take away this diner, this community is going to fall apart, Donovan.
Oh my God. You really believe that, don't you? You really, you think you're essential.
Roberta walks in now and says, Dahlia Hunt, I need a cup of black coffee, blacker than midnight on a summer moonless night, please.
Come in right up, Roberta.
I turn to Donovan. Hello, Money and Heels.
And I shrug and say, guilty as charged. Roberta, please, can you try and talk some sense into Dahlia? I have made her an offer that that if I had shareholders, they would fire me for. Explain to her that this daily grind that she goes through is totally unnecessary. That she could work however much or little she wanted if she just accepted my offer.
Roberta, honey, tell him that some people like working. They like meeting the members of the community. They like a little bit of chat.
I cannot understand why. I have to tell you, when those idiots in the Capitol convinced me to run for senator, I thought that I would have a campaign staff to handle all of that. But no, they expected me to press the flesh and kiss babies and all of that sort of thing. I thought that sort of thing went out with the Depression. It was frankly awful, and I feel that the public life is not one that is well suited for me.
Donovan Hunt, whenever you put your fingers where they don't really belong, it kind of sucks the life out of a place, if you know what I mean. Dahlia, I think you're right to refuse your offer from Donovan. We know that he's trying to buy up the whole goddamn town. Don't give in. I'll help you with whatever you need, hun.
Yes, I suppose that everybody living in the condominiums will need a place to get their little breakfast sandwiches and their I don't know.
Condominiums. Why do you get this crazy idea to build I don't even know what that word means. These fancy apartments of yours.
They're apartments that people pay for like their houses.
So why not build a house?
Because then you cannot charge a condominium association fee every month to maintain the property for them.
It makes no sense to me.
And it doesn't have to, because all you need to know how to do is to say good morning and flip an egg.
Honey, you've been spending way too much time in Seattle. What makes sense there doesn't make sense in Northern Falls.
Mark my words, eventually the whole country is going to look like Seattle.
That'll be the day.
Yeah, nothing that ever came out of Seattle is going to catch on. trust me on that one.
All right. Does everyone feel like we played out that scene?
Yeah, that's a great line to end that scene on in a 1980, like in a consciously, in like a retro 1986 thing. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Flavored
Right.
coffee.
Who would ever?
All right, so
After the checking, right?
right. Check tourist season and 2 of the.
All right, so let's see. We had the wall of postcards. All right, I think that the wall of postcards is going to get the highlight for this round. I liked that. It really established the heart and soul of Northern Falls. And then I think Donovan just really needs a check. And yeah.
Okay, Jim, it's your turn to phrase this, to pose a scene, and Jessica Ashwick is open because she has fewer check boxes than any of the others, or you could do either tourist season or BYO BBQ if you want.
I'm going to do Jessica Ashwick. I want a scene with just Dahlia and Sheriff Gray. Because I want to know what the deal with this with the weed buying is. Does he smoke it? Do they smoke it together? Do they have a thing going on? Give it to someone else? What is the deal there? So I think that this is you know what this is? This is like door to the diners. Like this is where we like see like door to the Dahlia saying goodnight, locking the diner, flipping the sign over, and she turns around, and the sheriff is sitting there at the counter, right on one of the stools. Because he clearly came in before, but then she shoos the counter out, and none of the customers think, like anything of the fact that he walks in just before she closes, and she's like, "Oh, let me get you a cup of Joe," or whatever, and like he's there after she's closed and locked up, and put the blinds down and everything. So it's just the two of them alone in the diner after it's been closed and locked at the end of the business day. Oh, pardon me. Lara, can you play Dahlia? And Stephen, you play Sheriff Gray?
Sure thing.
And I will cheer you on from the cheap seats here.
All right. So I guess I finish locking up. I say, Sheriff.
Oh, and if I wasn't clear, this is Jessica Ashwick. This is like totally Jessica Ashwick scene. Yeah.
Cool beans.
Right. Yeah, and thanks, Dahlia. I could really use a friend right around now.
What's going down?
Oh, it's this Jessica Ashwick thing. That idiot public radio DJ is talking about the thing I had going with her. He's. I mean that ended weeks ago. I'm sure you know that. You know everything that goes on in this town. But it's like we were seen together a few times, and all of a sudden, I'm supposed to be the killer.
Do we have anything to worry about?
Well, I'm not worried that I'm going to arrest myself or anything, but
no, of course not. That's why we got you elected sheriff. You can't go arresting yourself.
Right, yeah, but if I don't solve this case and find somebody who I can blame for this, I'm not getting reelected. I can tell you that. And the election, it is uncomfortably close.
Dahlia kind of takes out her hair clip and just kind of sighs and rubs her head. Yeah, no, we need to figure this out. Otherwise we lose our position and we lose everything.
Yeah, I mean, new sheriff comes into town. He's not going to turn a blind eye to some of the stuff that goes on here. I mean, I heard Donovan Wood is trying to buy you out. Do you think he knows anything about?
Yeah, no, I think he has an idea about the kind of business I'm running. I think we might have an issue. I think that I'm going to need to go away for a couple of days and check on things up in the mountains.
Well, it might look a little suspicious you closing up at the height of tourist season, but you do what you got to do.
How are you on getting somebody for this Jessica Ashworth thing? Do you have any idea about the killer?
Not much to go on. I mean, I'm kind of suspicious about Graham Coop. I mean, it'd be awfully convenient. Roberta Euker has a hard-on for nailing him for something, but I mean, so far there's no evidence about him. I mean, I searched, got him down to the police station. I searched him. He wasn't carrying anything more suspicious than a tube of lipstick, which kind of odd, but I mean, they only carry 2 brands of lipstick in this town. Could have come from anybody. Can't tie that to Jessica Ashwick.
I mean, I suppose not. Would the town turn against him?
Maybe. Been thinking of leaking that to Roberta. She'd run with it. I'm sure, but I feel like it's better to hold that in my back pocket in case things get worse than they are now.
No,
Okay.
yeah. All right. Oh, I have your
My
goods.
Yes.
Yes.
Much obliged.
Indeed. Careful with this batch, though. It smells funky, like a dead pigeon. Might be something in it.
You know, if you can line up another source, I wouldn't mind having an excuse to bust that Patrick kid.
I think that she looks at her nails. I can see what I can do.
Yeah, I mean, he's cheap. I'll give you that, but I don't trust that kid. And seems like if I could run him in, might divert a bit of attention from this whole Jessica Ashwick thing. Get people talking about something else. Might not be such a bad idea.
Indeed. He seems awfully interested in this case. Perhaps we can kill 2 birds with 1 stone, as they say. Did he know Jessica?
Everyone knew Jessica. The girl got around. I'm guessing that there was a deeper connection than he saw, and he seems awfully obsessed with this case.
Maybe an avenue to look down.
Could be. would disappoint Roberta. She's really dead set on getting Graham Coop for this, but he is awfully slick. I don't think Patrick is as smart about covering his tracks, particularly if there may not be tracks for him to cover. Could be pretty easy to make him look bad. Thanks.
Whatever it takes.
Yeah, and I thank you kindly for the suggestion, Dahlia, and thank you again for the merchandise. I can tell you I can really use something to take the edge off right about now.
Anytime, hun. Anytime.
That's a scene. For sure. All right. So mark it Jessica Ashwick. And and Dead Pigeon and Carrie's Lipstick. Sorry, I'm like, we've got Panama Red, Acapulco Gold, some of this Maui Wowie, and Dead Pigeon. Which do you prefer? Like, oh, I will take the Dead Pigeon, please. Thank you. That's fantastic. Just like a spread in the middle of High Times or something like that with like new varietals, Dead Pigeon. I think the lipstick is very interesting. So I'm going to check that.
All right, and it's my turn to frame a scene. So, let's throw Graham Coop together with Donovan Wood. I want to find out what the connection is between them, and I'm going to say that Graham Coop has some leverage on Donovan Wood, and he's going to Donovan to get him to use his influence to shut down the investigation. So let's find out exactly what that influence is. So let's see. Let's have Jim play Graham Coop, and Laura can play Donovan. Oh, and let's say I need an event scene. So let's say it's the BYO BBQ again.
All right.
So do we think we're flashing back to that, or can this be like
I mean, I think it's another one.
Oh, okay, sure. Oh, they probably have them multiple weeks throughout the summer.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Oh, let me just make sure I know what my prompt is. All right. Yeah. So, like, I feel like this feels like a parking lot thing to me, right? Like a, you know, where did these happen? Probably at like the VFW hall or something like that.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, like the Elks Lodge or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Say the VFW hall. So, of course, yeah, VFW hall. Absolutely, VFW hall is where this happened. This is a thing where, like, whatever expensive car, Donovan, that you actually, I shouldn't say, whatever vehicle that you normally drive, like, you've just gotten there and like I do that thing where I like pull into the space right next to you. And so I've got one of those like big like a big V8 Ford pickup with a cap on the back, and and a gun rack, with a 30-06 like right behind my head in my truck.
Good.
So it's, and like I pull in, and and I hop out. I walk around to the back of the truck, and I pop the thing, and I reach over, I pull up my 2-gallon stew pot, with the lid on it. And then I look over, and I say, Donovan, a little lowbrow for you. Surprised to see you here.
Coop. You know that I always attend these lovely town affairs. I love seeing the people of this town. It's so quaint.
You hate the people of this town. You hate everything about this town. You've talked for 2 decades, you've talked about nothing but what a podunk little shithole this is, and how with everything that you've built, some of it with my help, of course, but we don't talk about that, do we? The parts that I helped you with, that you're going to remake this whole place in your image. And, as long as I can have my little cabin in the woods with my pooches and my solitude, where I am not bothered and not called upon to perform any more errands for anybody, I will be happy. I have no quarrel with whatever grand plans you have for this place, Donovan. But what I do need is for you to return the favor that I did for you oh so many years ago, and that is to get Gray off of my back.
I kind of sigh. Look, Coop, I know we said we had an understanding, but I have no hand in the sheriff's business. I'm afraid my influence does not reach there. I am not a part of the law.
I am not suggesting that you are part of the law, and I put the like I take the pot and I put it back in the back of the truck, and I turn and take one step closer. I am suggesting that you can use all of this influence which you have built up, and which I have to say I admire your single-mindedness in your pursuit of your vision for this place.
This really stokes Donovan's ego. He's like, yeah, I'm the man. Yeah.
And Sheriff Gray is fully aware that and I kind of put my hand next to your ear and and it snaps much more emphatically and louder than Crocker is capable of doing, right? I get, it's like a good Marine finger snap next to your head, like that. You could have a lawn sign on behalf of his opponent for sheriff on every house in the village. Maybe, perhaps you could just remind him of that.
I say, you flatter me, Coop. My influence does not extend to the law. If you murdered this girl, as they say you did, as many sources say you did, who am I to get in the way of justice?
I'm going to tell you this once and not again. I had nothing to do with that poor girl's death. And And every day that idiot wastes poking his nose up my ass, her killer gets further away. She deserves better than Andy Griffith.
And what?
Get
What
him on the fucking case. And that that's like 2 pokes in your chest when I say that.
I look at you. And what are you gonna do if I don't? Supporting you is a high risk venture. I don't know if you didn't kill this girl.
Well, if it turns out that, look, Donovan, all I'm saying is you don't want them digging up my property, because there are things there that have been there a while. From the old days, Donovan, the bad old days, when this place was nothing more than a little fucking bootleggers camp in the early 60s that together we found and started to build up. I was absolutely content to step back and let you do your thing. When I got back from the war, all I wanted was some peace and quiet. And that's all I want now, Donovan. Peace and quiet. And if you can get him off my back, we'll all have peace and quiet.
Donovan's face is kind of blanched at the idea of some of these things coming out into the public knowledge and public sphere. And he looks at Graham and says, well, let me see what I can do. I suppose I can have a conversation with the sheriff, but I can't make any promises, for I am just a real estate investor. I'm an angel donor.
Oh, angel donor. Angel donor. And like, I think with that, like, I'm just like, I pick up my pot and I'm just like snickering to myself, you know, and a third time I repeat the phrase angel donor to myself as I go walking into the hall.
That sounds like scene. So I think I'll highlight high risk ventures. Okay, Laura, do you want to set the next scene?
Yeah, it sounds good. So I think that we have our next scene is going to be with Sheriff Gray and Donovan. I think we want to see just how much control Donovan really has over Sheriff Gray, and if Sheriff Gray is really going to let this Coop thing slide. Let's see. And maybe this takes place over at a frequented bar. Let's see. Think of a good bar name. We can have it be the Twin Peaks bar. The Twin Peaks Tavern. Yeah, why not? This is where they meet up.
Okay, and which of us plays which character?
Yeah. Let's see. I said, have either one of you not played the sheriff yet? Or have you both played the sheriff?
Let's see, I don't think I've played the sheriff.
All right, Steven, you want to take sheriff?
No, wait, I played the sheriff in the diner scene.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You haven't played the sheriff.
Ha, ha, ha. I see. Well, let's see. All right. Stephen, why don't you take Mr. Millionaire, Donovan?
Okay.
And then Jim, you want to take the sheriff?
Sure.
All right. And which event card? Tourist season or BYO BBQ?
I think this is tourist season.
Yeah.
I think that since this is a
Yeah.
tavern.
Sheriff, thank you for coming.
Mr. Wood, I'm really busy right now, so please, if we can just tell me what you want so I can get it out of the way so I can get back to my investigation.
Well, Mr. Gray, what I want is to have a nice, quiet, confidential conversation.
Sheriff Gray.
Of course, Sheriff Gray. And now, I am not one to tell you your business or how to do your job.
But you're about to do both, I sense.
You're a smart man, Sheriff.
Anybody who says that is telling somebody they're stupid, in my experience.
You're a smart man, Sheriff. All right. Here's the bottom line. You're spending a lot of time and energy harassing Graham Coop about this. Correct?
No, I'm spending a lot of time and energy investigating my principal suspect, Graham Coop.
And have you turned up even a scrap of actual evidence to make him your principal suspect?
Do you understand, with respect?
Okay, you can't disclose anything from an ongoing investigation. Yes, I understand that. But between you and me, we both know that there's no scrap of evidence linking him. And all I'm asking is that you spend a bit of your energy in pursuing other leads. That's it. Lay off the Graham Coop angle for a while. See if there are other avenues that might be more promising.
Mr. Wood, ever since I got the call that Jessica Ashwick's body was face down in that rowboat, everyone has been telling me how to do my job. I understand that people want this solved. I understand some of them love that girl. I understand some of them couldn't stand that girl. I understand that this is the most interesting thing that has happened in this town in many a fortnight. I have this job because the people, what's the name of our town again? Twin Falls?
Northern Falls.
Northern Falls, thank you. I'm conflating with Twin Peaks. I have this job because the people of Northern Falls elected me to do this job. They trust me to do this job, and I actually have my eyes closed as I'm saying this, and kind of like pointing at myself as I'm saying these things. They trust me to do this job. They have faith in me to perform my duties properly, and I know that I can do this if everyone gives me the space to do it and trusts me to do it. Please.
Allow me to correct you on one point, Sheriff. You have this job because you have the support of the local newspaper. The local newspaper, to which I am the biggest advertiser, and whose owner is currently running for political office with my financial support. And given those facts, it occurs to me that if you do not take my views into account, if you do not show them at least a little respect, you will not necessarily be sheriff for very much longer. I'm suggesting that you could perhaps be a little more tactful in dismissing my. I'm not threatening you, Sheriff. I am just pointing out the facts of life.
Mr. Wood, these are the facts of my life. And that is that I swore an oath to the people of this town to serve them to the best of my ability and to the best of my judgment. In my best judgment, Graham Coop had something to do with all of this. And I'm going to pursue this until I find out what happened. Now, your displeasure at that may mean that I lose this job, but I would rather lose this job because I did the right thing than because I knuckled under as soon as somebody put pressure on me because they didn't like something about an investigation I was performing. Because if word about that got out, I would be dead, but dead in a different way. That's a breach of trust with the people of this town that would not go unpunished. So, Mr. Wood, I want to be very clear about the awkward position that you have put me in. Your interest in getting me to try to end my investigation into Mr. Coop leaves me of two minds. The first is that perhaps you are mixed up with him in some way that casts suspicion on you. The other, and I'm going to be very frank here, that anything that you say to me, I will keep in the utmost confidence because that is part of my job. The other is that perhaps he has threatened you in some way to come to me to do this. Now, if that is the case, I can help you with that, but you need to come clean with me.
I think Donovan Wood, he pulls a pipe out of his coat pocket and he starts filling it with tobacco. He's not saying anything for a moment, and then he says, Sheriff, a man like Gran Coop, you either take him down hard or you don't take him down at all. This kind of beating around the bush, just hoping to stumble over something, it gets you nowhere with a man like that. You need hard evidence, or I'm telling you now, this is not me speaking from my own interest. This is me giving you completely disinterested advice. You need hard evidence or you're better off leaving him completely alone.
And I think this is where like a waitress comes over to tell you you're not allowed to smoke in here, and I just give her one of these, wave her off, right? Like it's okay, he's with me.
Oh yeah, yes, I hadn't noticed the smoking section is 2 tables over.
And I say, well, Mr. Coop, Mr. Wood, I very much appreciate your coming to me. You know how to get in touch if you have anything more that you want to tell me.
Oh yes, the editorial page of the local newspaper. Thank you for reminding me.
All right, and scene. Nice. All right. So, checking time. And let's see. I really enjoyed the self-esteem pep talk. That was a personal favorite of the scene. Okay. And then I already checked off the tourist season. Okay.
All right. Let's take slightly longer break this time. Let's come back at 25 past the hour.
Sounds good to me. And then I think I'm up, right?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. See everybody in 10.
Okay, and we're back. We have 3 tokens on tourist season, 3 tokens on BYOBBQ, and 2 tokens on Jessica Ashwick. So it's again possible to invoke a Jessica Ashwick scene, and the game ordinarily stops after all of the event cards have 4 tokens on them. There's then an epilogue where we learn more about the murder of Jessica Ashwick. So we can skip some of those scenes if it turns out that it is getting late and we're nearing the end of our time slot.
You know, I'm running on a half a tank here, so I'm pretty good. So
yeah.
So let's see how we do. I did a Jessica Ashwick scene last time, I think. So I would like to do a tourist season scene. I kind of dig tourist season. You know what? I want to see Roberta and Patrick in the diner. And I don't know. We haven't seen them in the same space, have we, really?
I don't think so.
No. So I'm curious about their relationship, given that they're both kind of in the same line of work, but have very different approaches to it. Lara, if you can be Roberta and represent the print media, and Stephen will have you represent, radio media, and I'll be Dahlia and mediate and provide the space for this meeting of the minds to go down. I think that'd be. I think I like the sound of that. And this is a thing where, I suspect we've kind of established that Dahlia and Roberta get along, and that Dahlia gives Roberta a discount and that kind of stuff and everything. I suspect, we haven't really established this, but I can't help but feel like they've known each other since high school or something like that,
I could see that happening. This seems like the kind of town where everybody kind of, once you're in the town, you stay in the town.
Yeah. And that I suspect, that it's a thing where, every summer at the beginning of the summer, I get a big puff, you run a big puff piece on the diner, and I, and in exchange, basically, I know what you order, I just bring it to you and stuff like that. And by discount, I think just you eat free. You just come in, I serve you, and I'm get what you want. And I think I want this to be the thing where we are just bullshitting, and then Patrick, you interject yourself in whatever manner you think is, I was going to say appropriate, but probably in whatever manner is inappropriate. Is probably the way this is going to go down, but So yeah, so like, I have laid down your omelet, like it's egg white omelet, Swiss mushrooms and Swiss, um, uh, coffee. What was it like black as midnight on a moonless night, right?
Mm-hmm.
And potatoes extra crispy.
Oh yeah.
And so I've like set those down, and I'm doing that thing where like I think, you're in a booth, I've just laid the food, and I'm doing that thing where like I've got my elbow on the, how like the bench seats in the booth have like a space in the middle that's wide enough that you can kind of do this on. And I'm kind of doing that. I'm just sort of standing there. And I'm saying, it's looking like a good year. I don't know. I mean, I guess you never know till you run the numbers, but everything looks, it was packed this morning.
That's awesome, hun. It seems like you've been getting some really good business up in here. Have you been doing anything different?
Nope. I think it's just, every year it gets a little more popular. And 10 years ago, everybody called us cheap, but now we're a hidden gem. We're a bargain destination where you get your money's worth. It's and I kind of like point at your plate. I'm like, same eggs, same potatoes, different message, I guess.
But hun, you've become a very shrewd businesswoman now. You are practically walking money in heels. I mean, you've been able to really up the look of this place in the past couple of years.
I've saved up, and I think the money I've spent has been well spent. But it's every year. I think it's going to be the last year, and then we do okay. And I don't know.
Have you ever thought about giving Donovan Wood any investment opportunities, though?
My dad owned this place. He built it. He built it with my uncle. It's not. I don't think any of the original planks he laid down are still here, but this is, I don't know. It's a family thing. I can't just. I feel like I'd be betraying him if I just, I took the easy way out.
And I think Patrick walks in the door. He says, "Hey Dahlia, I'll have maple syrup, amaretto, vanilla, caramel coffee when you get a chance."
And like I look at you and I say, if I put 4 flavors in it, there isn't going to be much coffee in it, hon.
Well, ooh. Tell you what, you can leave out the vanilla.
And I I chuckle, like this is because this is just you being weird Patrick. And and I say and I say to I look at Roberta and I go, customers, what are you gonna do? You take care of that. Let me know if you need any ketchup or anything, honey. I gotta take his order. And I go over and I walk over to pour the coffee.
Yeah, and I go, oh, is that strudel? And I slide into the. Were you gonna eat all that?
No, please help yourself.
Thanks. I get the munchies. I don't know what it is. Something, it must be the mountain air. It's something that I just eat all the time.
Yeah, I can't say that I personally have experienced this, but I'm sure I understand what you mean.
Yeah, and I think you are picking up a very definite aroma.
Well, Patrick, I've heard you've been ruffling some feathers recently.
Oh yeah, we've just been telling the truth, Roberta. I mean, not like your fancy journalism paper, but we tell the things that people are afraid to say because they don't have hard evidence.
Well, how do you know it's true then, Patrick, if you don't have evidence there?
That is exactly the kind of thing my journalism professor used to say. But
And Dahlia walks up and says, "Is that the journalism class that you failed out of, there, Patrick? When you came back from university after only 2 years?"
There were a lot of reasons I failed that class, but I'm telling you, that professor, he was not consistent. He would tell you that a good reporter would always follow the hunches, and then you write down your hunches and she would give you a failing grade because you didn't back them up. It's like, which is it? You got evidence, it's not a hunch, right? Am I right, Roberta?
You know what, Patrick? That is one method that somebody can use to report. And you know what? If that's what's been working for you, then go right on ahead and follow those hunches. I personally like the route of evidence.
Well, yeah. I mean, how's that working out so far? You found any evidence yet for Graham Coop? That's the horse you're backing, right? You got evidence there.
You know, Graham Coop, he's clearly got some skeletons in the closet. I mean, comes back from the wars, keeps to himself in that dusty old cabin in the woods, doesn't really talk to anybody. He's an everyday Boo Radley. I mean,
sounds like a hunch to me.
Indeed. Yeah, well, you know what? I'm working on the evidence trail right now. I don't suppose that you have anything that you want to share. What kind of truths have you been looking into recently?
Well, I mean, I'm following my hunch. I mean, I know Sheriff Gray. I mean, everybody in town. He says that he hangs out around the school just a little more often than a man his age should. I mean, and you can tell me that it's part of his job, but I'm just saying.
It's part of his job. They're dealing drugs at the school. I mean, you know that, right?
I know that, and you know that, but I'm just saying it looks funny.
Patrick, do you have the videotape I loaned you?
Oh, the in search of tape. Yeah. Oh, yeah. The in search of big. I gotta thank you for lending that to me, Dahlia. I know it was a really big favor for you to record that on your VCR, and I am going to watch that just as soon as I can.
And I take it back from you, and I say, 79, 1986, 125 for the coffee.
And Patrick, he pulls out his pockets, and a few coins go rattling out on the floor, and he's dumping the change on it, dumping the change on the table, and he's obviously having
actually, so here's what I was thinking is like, you hand me the videotape, I say it's $1.25, you hand me like a crumpled $5 bill, and like I go to the register and I like and I make change, and like I hand you $100, right? Here's your change.
Oh, okay.
Like
Right, so,
that kind of thing.
okay. Okay. And it's like, I guess I don't have enough. You know what? And he reaches down into his shoe and he pulls out a $5 bill and he hands that to.
And I kind of do one of these, like, really, kid? All right, well, I'm just going to give it to a tourist. And I like, kind of flap, like snap it like that. Walk over to the register, boom, and like I hand you your change, like folded up, like a folded pile of bills. Thanks, hon.
Yeah, and like when I see the bills, it's like, oh, and I with very exaggerated casualness, I close my hands around it and I stuff it into my pocket. I'm sure Roberta didn't notice a thing.
No. I think Roberta just quirks an eyebrow, maybe. Interesting.
Yeah, but and Roberta, I just want we haven't always seen eye to eye on a lot of stuff, and I want you to know it's not because I don't respect you as a journalist. I mean, I know you've got a different style than me, and that is cool. I mean, really, it's just. I mean, you're an older woman, and I've got some issues with. I mean, you look like my mom, and but it doesn't mean that I do not respect you as a professional.
Roberta just sighs.
And I raise an eyebrow, and I say to Roberta, he tried this line on me too. Don't let him. Don't let him do. Don't let him. Don't let him. Don't let him get you. And then I kind of raise an eyebrow, and I look at Patrick, and I lean in, and like in an exaggerated voice, I say, "Oh dear, you look a little peaked. Is that a cough that I hear? Maybe I can fix you one of my special cough syrup cocktails. Would you like that, darling?" And then I just burst out laughing, and I wink at Roberta, and go off to serve another customer.
I think she was making fun of my drink.
I think she might have been there, Patrick. I think she might have been.
The thing is, it's all so good. I mean, I love maple syrup, and the amaretto, and I got a sweet tooth. I can't skip the caramel. It's like, what would you leave out? I mean, what would you leave out, Roberta, if you had to leave one thing out?
And what I would like to do is to kind of have the scene fade on him haranguing her, and her not hasn't finished her breakfast, and kind of just has to sit there while he's like, "It's all about the caramel, Roberta." So, is that okay? You guys cool with that? We just kind of fade out. Yeah, okay. I think that's fun. So, all right, cool. So I am gonna click on mother issues and money and heels. Wow, I really feel like the mother issues kind of reframe what's going on here. Click that. And that's our last tourist season box that I just checked.
Right. So it's no longer possible to pick the tourist season card. And it's my turn to frame a scene. So I'll do a Jessica Ashwick scene, I think. And let's see. I think that let's have Sheriff Gray and Patrick. So Jim, you can be Sheriff Gray, and Laura can be Patrick. And yeah, I mean, I think it's just you're going to seek out Patrick and shake him down over the Jessica Ashwick thing. See if you can shake anything loose.
So like I feel like this starts with like, you know, a like, you know, like Gestapo loud, like someone is like just wailing on your door. Patrick, open up. It's Sheriff Gray. I've got a warrant. Bam, 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 bam.
I think that you hear some shuffling inside, like maybe a big trip and fall down, and and then I think you see the door slowly open, and then you see these like bloodshot eyes kind of creeping out.
You know, and you see like this, right? Like a warrant is like shoved in your face. Like, gonna have to let me in, Patrick.
What's happening, man?
Patrick, I've obtained a warrant to search the premises for any evidence in the matter of the death of Jessica Ashwick.
Jessica Ashwick, man, she was a good kid.
Patrick, so I'm going to advise you that anything, you're not under arrest, but anything you say while I'm here is going to be said in the presence of a law enforcement official, and it can be used against you. Do you understand?
Huh?
Look. And I do that thing where I kind of like put a hand on his shoulder and kind of gently walk him back a couple of steps and like set him down in a chair. You know,
hey, I will not take this brutality. Here I have rights, man.
Patrick, I don't. Oh, so is this like a like push my hand away when I try to touch you? Okay, got it. All right, okay. So I do one of these, and it's like you can see me like I take a deep breath, and you can see me like mentally counting to 5, right? As I, like. All right, Patrick. I don't care about what you've got going on in your backyard. I know that you are not involved in any of that stuff that's going down at the school. And frankly, I am not interested in spending a whole lot of time.
I think he says, I know you're not interested in spending a lot of time
chasing down adults, doing things that don't hurt anybody in the privacy of their own homes. Now, that said, I am duty-bound to pursue whatever leads I can in the matter of Jessica Ashwick's death. So,
Patrick perks up at the name Jessica Ashwick's again, and he says, yeah, I've been working on a story about that. You want to comment?
How about this? You open that safe for me, I say, like pointing over your shoulder at the, like 1960s style, like combination spinning, like great big, like, floor safe that you've got just like shoved up against a wall in your, whatever, your bungalow here. If you open that safe for me, I will give you a comment.
How about this, Sheriff? Patrick seems to straighten up a little bit and is like, you answer a question for me now. I'll tell you the safe combination. Because with warrants, you can't really go barging into my safe, and without the combination, I'm afraid I can't help you. As far as you know, I don't know the combination. I forgot it. You know how it gets, kids these days.
Yeah, I can. What I can do is, I can call the county, and I can sit on top of that safe until the state trooper comes by with a tech and an oxyacetylene torch, and we'll open it the hard way. And then you will not get a comment from me.
Very well. I think he kind of like meanders on over to the safe combination, and he says, so, as he's undoing the safe, you and Jessica knew each other pretty well, right?
She was a troubled kid. I mean, I'm sure you know. She grew up in town, left when she was young, came back because, well, let's just say she had a tough time in the city. And
well, guys like you tend to take a special interest in troubled cases, being so troubled yourself, right? 2 divorces. That does cause some significant damage.
Is that what you want me to comment on? On the fact that being married to someone who risks their life every day, who is almost never home, who really, let's face it, is always going to be more married to their job than they are to whoever they share a home with?
No, sir. I don't want you
tough?
to comment on your ex-wives.
Is that what you wanted to know?
No, I want you to comment on your relationship with Jessica Ashworth. You've had many relationships with the other troubled girls in the school system. The safe pops open and reveals the coconut inside.
I walk over and I kneel down and I reach in and I like tap the sides, ding, 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 like looking for whatever, anything hidden or anything like that. And I kind of pull the coconut out and I look at it and I sigh and I stick it back in there. And I stand up and I kind of do one of these and I say, well, Patrick, thank you very much for your cooperation.
What about my comment?
Oh, I would like to assure you that the department is investigating every possible lead and looking into every suspect in this matter. But of course,
you're the department, man.
But of course, this is an ongoing investigation, and that means I can't comment on it. And like I kind of and I smirk as I say that, and I like smirk a little, and then I say, "You're very cooperative. Thank you. I appreciate that you made this easy for me. Rest assured that as soon as I have a credible lead that I can discuss with the media, I will hold a press conference, just like they do in the big city. And you can ask the first question."
All right, Patrick shakes his head, takes the coconut, and starts just kind of stroking it. And he says, "Fine."
Yeah, and I just and I like look at him, just kind of like sigh, shake my head, and let myself out.
Okay, and as Patrick follows you out onto the porchway, and he watches you go off with his coconut in hand, and as he sees your car disappearing in the distance, we see Patrick kind of open the coconut because it was hollow inside, and we see him take out a necklace, a girl's necklace, and he just kind of starts cackling to himself, and then he's just looking at the necklace, and I think the scene fades out.
Okay, and I believe that is scene.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah, it is.
and I liked the divorced twice line, so I'll mark that one.
Yeah.
And now Patrick and Sheriff Gray each have 4 boxes checked. So the next box the 5th box on every card is labeled secret. So if you choose one of those characters, that character has to reveal a secret during the course of the scene.
Right.
And if they reveal a secret, the box does not get marked. They're picked again for another scene. They can reveal the same secret again or a different secret.
Okay.
And as with the event card, if all 5 boxes get filled up, you can't choose that card again.
Sounds good. All right, I think it's my turn to make a scene here. All right. Okay, I think that I want to have, let's see. Let's get Roberta Euker in here just because I want to hear the line hormone issues. And let's do, let's do Roberta, Graham, Coop, and Patrick. Actually, no, let's do Roberta, Graham, Coop, and Donovan. And we'll do this at the 3rd barbecue of the summer, well, I don't know how far in the summer we are, but it's one of the barbecues in the summer. And yeah. So let's see. I think I want to play Coop this time. Steven, can I put you on Donovan? And Jim, I'll put you on Roberta.
All right.
You want to set us up? How do we, where do we come in?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so maybe Roberta and Donovan are talking about Roberta's upcoming election procedures because she's been voted or is trying to run for office. And I think Graham Coop is probably sulking around the outskirts of everything.
Roberta, I'm glad I got a chance to talk to you with this. With the election so close, you know that you have my unqualified support.
I know. Sorry. I feel like crap right now, Donovan. Is this... do men go through this? They don't. Of course they don't. Because if they did, we would never hear the end of it.
Never been sick a day in my life, I'm proud to say.
Well, isn't that just lovely for you? Look, this whole treasurer thing is important, but I mean, are you sure? Are you sure this is as in the bag as you say it is? I can't deal with any more stress right now. I am having migraines alternating with hot flashes for the last 2 weeks, and it's making me miserable. So I almost canceled on this, and you know how the committee would just lose their shit if I didn't show up. So just I don't have a lot of patience for scheming right now, Donovan, so just tell me what you want.
And what I want is for Sheriff Gray to show me a little bit of respect. I know you don't have, you and your little socialist newspaper, you don't have unlimited influence, but still, you're the only thing between him and the unemployment line. Because I guarantee you, if that man didn't get voted into office time after time, he would not be able to find a job at McDonald's.
I think Graham Coop is going to saunter up right now to Donovan and say, "We've got a problem here, Mr. Wood."
Oh, Mr. Coop. What exactly is the problem? And suddenly, her eyes perk up, and she looks very interested.
Nothing that concerns you, Miss Euchre. This is only a matter between Mr. Wood and myself.
Well, Mr. Coop, you may not have heard, but I publish, and I shoot this glance at Donovan Wood, a socialist newspaper. So we are always interested in making sure that we get out the news on the downtrodden, on those less fortunate, on people with axes to grind and grudges to pick. So with chips on their shoulders, if you will. So if you ever want to talk, I am all ears. My understanding is that you're being unjustly persecuted by the sheriff.
I kind of grow up to a big height and kind of stalk over her, and I say, I don't want anything to do with your damn socialist newspaper.
Isn't it a shame? And I turn to Donovan and I say, and here I thought the Red Scare was a thing of the past. Well, gentlemen, whatever dark dealings that you were up to, I'll leave you to it. And I go walking in the direction of the ladies' restroom.
And I call out to her, "Roberta, watch your back. If you make too many enemies in this town, could end that poorly for you."
And in an echo of the sheriff giving the thumbs up as he walked away, she gives you one of these as she walks away, just over her shoulder like that.
And then I think Coop turns back to Donovan and he says, "I've still got the sheriff riding my ass. What the hell?"
I was trying to put pressure on Euchre, to put pressure on the sheriff when you barged in and upset the apple cart. What the hell are you doing? The whole point is that nobody's supposed to know we've got a relationship, and you walk up to me in front of the owner of the fucking newspaper? This what you call discreet?
I laugh and kind of put an arm around Donovan there and says, "Oh, Mr. Wood, it is so nice of you to offer to fix up my house for me, but I am going to have to decline." And then I kind of whisper to him, "If you don't get the sheriff off my ass, I am going to release the missing persons posters from many years ago, and I'm sure that those names on those posters will lead to some questions.
Are you damned sure that I can't weather the investigation better than you, Coop?
Oh,
Men
I
like
have
me
my
don't
insurance.
men like me don't go to prison. I've got the best lawyers in the state on my retainer. Do your worst.
I kind of laugh and I say, if you say so, but be warned, I have my resources.
And is that a scene? That feels
Sure.
like a scene to me.
Yeah.
So where are you going to put the tokens?
Oh yeah, this was my scene, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah, that's why I was asking you.
Right.
Yeah, whoops, I lost track there. Okay, so let's see. There, and select the socialist newspaper bit. There. Yeah. All right, I think we're all checked up.
Okay, and then let's take one more break before the final scene and the epilogue. Come back at 20 past the hour.
Sounds good.
Sounds good to me. We good to go?
Yep, we're good to go.
Sweet. All right. So I get to do the last scene. That's exciting. So let's see. This is going to be Patrick, Sheriff Gray, and Graham Coop. Which, purely by coincidence, all of whom will be revealing a secret in this scene as part of their thing that they've got going on. So,
right, and there's one thing I forgot to mention, which is
yes.
that the secret cannot be I murdered Jessica Ashwick. It has to be something else.
Got it. Okay, cool. And this is the last scene. So this is a Jessica Ashwick scene. Wow. Yeah. So, I want this to be, and where do I want this to happen? We haven't seen Coop's cabin in the woods that we have invoked several times. So I really want to see Coop's cabin in the woods. So I think this is going to happen at his place. And I think this is a thing where the sheriff, like I want this to be a thing where like the sheriff comes in on him and Patrick, you know, like here's something, maybe it's a struggle of some kind or something like that, and this is like a bust the door in, like, actually, you know what? Let's start with the sheriff outside, you know, lurking outside the cabin because he's been stalking Coop, right? And Patrick and Coop inside the cabin. So, you know, if this were like the scene were to open, you know, we'd see the sheriff like approaching this, you know, like, you know, literal log cabin with a big, like a propane tank outside. There aren't even any, it's probably got, there isn't actual electricity running to it or something like that. Certainly not a paved driveway or anything like that. When he gets within 50 yards of the place, the dogs start, right? They start barking in the back, in the kennel there. But Coop is inside with Patrick. And I'll leave it. So, Lara, I've been enjoying how you've been playing Patrick, and the bombshell you dropped on us last time with the necklace. I want to see where that goes. So I'm gonna have you play Patrick.
Oh.
And Stephen, why don't you play Graham Coop? I don't think you've gotten a chance to play him yet, right?
I honestly can't remember.
So you're going to be Graham Coop, and I'm going to be the sheriff. So, so I think that this is Patrick. You've come to you've come to see Coop, and I think this is clear. This is like a Coop has let you in thing. This is not. I don't think you've slipped in through a window or anything like that. But whatever tense thing is going on, I'll let you guys figure out exactly what that is. But as the sheriff, I will enter again when it is, at the moment where it can throw things out of whack.
All right. I think Patrick's probably going to start off maybe with how could you? I trusted you. You said that everything would be okay. You said that she would be safe.
Patrick, you wound me. You think I had anything to do with her disappearance?
I think you have everything to do with her disappearance.
Well, Patrick, I didn't. And I'll tell you how you can tell that I didn't. Because if I did kill that girl, there would have been a fall guy set up.
Her name is Jessica. She has a name. Why can't you people understand? She's not some girl found in the woods face down. Her name is Jessica Ashwick. I loved her, and now she's dead, and somebody has to pay for it.
Well, you're right about one thing, Patrick. And Graham Coop pulls out a gun. Somebody does have to pay for it. Doesn't have to be the person.
And that's you say somebody does have to pay for it, and that's bam, door gets shouldered open, sheriff's got the gun out. Put it down, Coop. Put it down.
Coop. With exaggerated caution, he reaches over, he lays the gun down on the table. I'm glad you're here, Sheriff. I had an intruder who, well, not a physical threat to me, was making some rather alarming statements. And did we just lose Laura?
Yeah, it looks like we did. Should we pause for a moment and see if she comes back on? Let's do that, yeah. And as you speak to me, Patrick bolts out the door. It's funny.
Hi, sorry.
Yeah. All right. Let's start again. I'm glad you came in, Sheriff. I had an intruder who, as you can see, and, well, I don't consider them to be physically threatening. They were making some rather alarming statements.
Patrick's all bug-eyed and it's like, yo, man, this man's trying to kill me.
Right now, everything is under control.
Under control? There's a massive cover-up here, man. Y'all are working for the man. You all killed Jessica. You're all in on it together. I know it. I know it.
Patrick, I'm only going to say this once. I'm not working for the man. I am the man, and you need to understand that. Look. I want to find out who killed my daughter as much as the rest of you do.
Your daughter?
Yes. She ran away. When she came back, I did my best. I tried to help her, but she didn't want my help because I was the reason that she left in the first place.
Yeah, she told me all about you. We bonded over our parental issues.
I confess, Sheriff, I didn't realize you had a personal stake in this investigation.
Well, I was hoping to be able to solve all of this before it came out, because I knew that once people found out, it would just make everything more complicated. It would make this harder to fix, but it's not too late to fix this. Look, Coop, I don't know what she meant to you, and I don't know what you know about all this, but I'm begging you, any help that you can give me, please.
All right, Sheriff.
And I
level.
holster my gun.
All right, Sheriff. I'll level with you. I was not having any relationship with Jessica, as you say. She was working for me. The way a lot of kids at that school are working for me. And I was going to meet her that night. That's true. But she was dead when I got there. And he goes to a floorboard, he lifts it up. Here's her diary. It was on her body. I didn't find anything in there that was useful. But if you can find anything that gives you any clue, you're welcome to it.
I think Patrick tries to grab the diary and just cries out, Jessica! Jessica!
And what I'll let you take it and kind of sob over it for a bit. And then I walk over to you. And I'm gonna reach out to put a hand on your shoulder, but then I remember that you don't like that, right? I kind of do one of these okay, and then I hold my hand up and I say, Patrick, this has been a very long night for everyone. Why don't I just take you home? I can look at that later.
I think he looks up to you, teary-eyed. We could have saved her. We could have saved her.
Well, you're probably not wrong, but it's too late for that. And I feel like as I lead you out, that's the scene.
Okay. So I need you to place the tokens, and
Yeah, so I'm gonna, okay, so I'm gonna I liked your secret that she was working for you. And I'm enamored of my secret that she was my daughter. I think the fact that she was working for you, I find that very interesting. I'll do that. And then, with much ceremony, I click the last box under Jessica Ashwick, and you tell us how the end game works.
Ooh.
I'm super curious.
All right, because you placed the last token on Jessica Ashwick, you get to describe Jessica Ashwick's murder. And because there is a tie between who has the most colored tokens between Sheriff Gray and Graham Coop,
Uh-huh.
you get to decide which one of them is the murderer.
Oh my gosh.
And Donovan Wood has the most uncolored tokens. He was an eyewitness.
Oh, wow. So did we ever establish exactly how we never established her cause of death, right?
No.
No.
Wow. So yeah, so it's it's that we see Jessica Jessica's getting out of school and whatever, she like you know what, it's 1986, she hitches a ride from someone, right?
Mhm.
Sticks her thumb out, and a tourist, you know, because she's like, the cute teenage girl, sticks her thumb out, and a car with a couple of guys that are there at the lake, tourist college guys, stop, pick her, she gets in the backseat with them. They start, they pull out from the curb. Sheriff pulls out 3-4 cars behind them, just keeping an eye as they're going up into the, whatever. Down to, kind of go down around the corner and stuff like this to, I'm going to say there's a, it's not tourist season yet, right? So this is oh, you know what? I want to put this, since this is like, out on one of the docks that we've seen from the, like where like all the happy tourists were doing their fishing and stuff like that or whatever, right? And she's out on the dock, and she's standing there. She's smoking a cigarette, right? And the sheriff comes walking out onto the dock, and he says, "Jessica," and she turns, and I think this is like, and Donovan Wood is at his private table at the restaurant where you can see out, and like technically the restaurant is closed, but basically like they opened just for him so that he could come in, and have some, whatever, and have his, they made a mistake and gave him a glass of whiskey and whatever, and he's sitting out there smoking a cigar, enjoying himself, enjoying the fact that, like, it's a Monday night, but they opened for him, right? And so he's sitting on the dock, and he can look out, and he can see, it's otherwise dark, but like that cigarette that she's got, there's like a little bit of a glow, right, where they can kind of see, and maybe like halfway down the dock, there's just like a single light that hangs, so it's like silhouetting them and stuff. And she's and like she waves her arms a little bit at him, and he steps forward, and she steps forward, obviously angry about something, and he's just standing there. And then she throws the cigarette at him, and it just like bounces off his chest, and he just stands there. And then she like comes at him and is doing this like yelling, pounding on his chest thing, and he just like grabs both her wrists, and like pushes her back, but she slips and like kind of spins, and like her head hits the dock hard, and she like rolls over into the water. And the sheriff stands there and like walks over to look, looks around, doesn't see anybody, turns, runs back off the dock. And I think what we find is that, like, you know, and the following morning they find her body washed up on the shore, whatever, 100 yards down from where she went into the lake on the dock there.
Or Jessica.
Yeah, and that is the game. That's Forget Me Not. It was written by Jim Pinto. You can get it at Drive-Thru RPG or at fine, friendly neighborhood game retailers everywhere. Wave hello to the customers, Jim.
Hey, everybody.
And I will stop the recording now.